Well done, David. Another provocative tweet. Can't wait to get till those spider cultists just get super angry at me. Let's see.
You're moronic. You really think that if Insomniac Games cared about money, we would have a finished
He wasn't
Spider-Man
acting
game?
like a child. He
No.
was grumpy from the start. Doesn't matter if Xavier made him watch it. He was still immature as fuck.
Those are some good, sweet, salty tears.
Here's my best at cautiously real impression.
Oh. There's more? Okay.
You do realize you just
This honestly causes a big opportunity, though. I don't care less. I care about people that it is bad. Godzilla Mendoza, you do realize your little
you
friend
started
Cautiously
a
Real
huge
just started a
split in the
major
Spidey Squad
split in the
community, don't
Spidey
you? You
Squad
do realize you
community,
just started
don't
a huge split on the Spidey Squad community, don't you?
Exactly! He was there acting like a kid the whole time. If he didn't want to be there, then just fucking leave. It's not that hard.
That is a lot of tears. Oh, come on!
Well, LMAO, we don't care what you think of the game, just don't bother people who are actually fighters. Well, you idiot, can you shut your mouth and stop causing problems?
Can you guys slow down? A couple of months ago, I decided to make some poorly worded provocative tweets about Insomniac games. And to be honest, I don't know what I was expecting, but I certainly didn't expect the vitriolic reaction I got. Oh boy. But that's neither here nor there. And then as vitriolic and awful as the tweets felt, I'm willing to put that behind us at this point. I'm not here to point fingers, although we all know who did it, and I do have to acknowledge that.
Welcome back, true believers and spectacular Spidey fans, to another Spider-Man PS4 related video.
Well, we meet again, Evan. Evan Flarkin and I have had a few previous Twitter encounters, and I like to think of the way we interacted as more of a playful joshin', you know, messing with each other a little bit, having a little bit of fun, but nothing too antagonistic. I thought that they would have the same reaction with these series of tweets, but boy was I wrong. Anyway, I'm more than willing to let bygones be bygones. I'm willing to I forgive you for all that nastiness, and I'm ready to shove the beef back in the refrigerator. As that situation unfolded, there's a larger issue behind what I was saying that I think merits some discussion. It's more than just some silly Spider-Man game in the honor of its almighty and holy developer that I dare not offend. So Evan, if you're still watching, I hope you'll stick around and listen. I've always been fascinated by your content and your ability to wring so much out of such a limited subject. And your greatest record of going without talking about Spider-Man is of 3 videos. So you're an expert in this, and I hope that you'll listen to a different point of view who's a little bit outside the fan community, and I hope you'll be a bit receptive to what I have to say. In all seriousness, I really do want you to keep going and listen. At the very least, I do owe it to all of you to explain what I was trying to say. So without further ado, let's talk about the economics of fandom. Part 1. Adam Smith. It is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard for their own self-interest. Before anything else, we need to talk about capitalism. Oh boy, so exciting. And what better place is there to start talking about economics and capitalism than Adam Smith? Classical economics is based on a couple of key assumptions, one of which is that people are self-interested. Self-interest doesn't mean selfishness. Perhaps this is where our disagreement stemmed from. When I said selfish, I meant self-interested. To be self-interested simply means you do the things that you believe have the most benefit to you. That isn't the same as doing the thing that makes you the most money. For some people, doing something that is less profitable but more enjoyable is what has the most benefit for them. Philanthropists actively give away their time and their money because it is what they enjoy the most and believe it is the best use of their time. Like any other actor in the market economy, this is what Insomniac Games, and for its publisher Sony, does. If they think it benefits them the most to be nice to the fans and to make good games, that's what they'll do. If their priorities change, so will their behavior. The developers themselves have said that they love what the Spider Squad is doing, that tweet. Basically, my whole point started with that basic assumption. Why should that matter? How does Insomniac's opinion matter? If you like the game, and you're excited for it, and are having fun with the Spidey Squad and your fan club, what should it matter what Insomniac thinks or doesn't think about your fan club? Using the company's approval as a sanction of authority fundamentally misinterprets the nature of the relationship between consumers and producers. We don't trust Insomniac to make games because of the goodness of their heart. We trust them to do it because it is what they believe is the best use of their time. Someone outside of their PR department may genuinely care about the fans. They may genuinely care about making good games. They may be genuinely nice, good people. I don't know them, so any attempt at characterizing them will inevitably fail. But at the end of the day, these are all secondary priorities. Our society is built on self-interest and, more fundamentally, greed. We live in a capitalist market economy. It's the way we organize our society. No matter how much we try to avoid it, our society is built on the free exchange of goods and services. No matter how much we like to ignore it, our cultural icons are products. And yeah, before you say it, that sucks. Thanks, Disney. The Sonny Bono Act was an absolutely awful idea, which has led directly into the current franchise craze. For more information on this topic, which I'm not going to expand on now, check out CGP Gray's video on copyright for more detailed information. Point is, thanks to intellectual property laws, Spider-Man, Star Trek, whatever else you like, they're all property. They belong to the company that makes it. And this is something the geek community, I believe, needs to address, or at least acknowledge. And no, it's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, we need copyright law in order to create the type of content we enjoy on a daily basis. But we have to acknowledge the ownership of it. Part 2. The geek community, or fandom. According to Wikipedia, a fandom is a subculture composed of fans, characterized by a feeling of empathy and camaraderie with others who share a common interest. Fans typically are interested in even minor details of the objects of their fandom, and spend a significant portion of their time and energy involved with their interest. According to Urban Dictionary, a fandom is a cult that will destroy your life. Both are correct. When I was in high school, I know this, I went through a huge fandom phase myself. I was under the mistaken impression that the only way you could make friends was making friends with people who share your common interests. Star Trek wasn't exactly in fashion with the 9th grade social scene. I instead identified myself as a Doctor Who fan. So I found myself a group of friends who also liked Doctor Who, or at least some of them did. As of this day, all but 2 of them are no longer my friends. And I get it, high school, friends change. Honestly, I feel sad for anybody who was friends with me back then. I was so obnoxious. And all I did was talk about Doctor Who. Talk about Doctor Who. Oh, and did I mention talking about Doctor Who? I think I probably wouldn't have gotten much into it if I hadn't built my entire friend group and social connection on that shared connection. I mean, granted, I did like the show, but I pretended to like it more than I did so I could be friends with these people. And regardless, I was obsessed. And the point is, I get it. I understand what it's like to really love something and talk about it all the time. I understand that sometimes you just get a little bit too carried away and let that thing define you. I did it. I'm not gonna tell you to calm down or stop liking the thing that you like. Don't take it too far, okay? Don't define yourself by the thing that you like. The problem is, this tends to lead you to feel a sense of ownership in something, which you don't own, according to copyright law. See the hugely negative reaction to my tweets about Insomniac Games. Even if I was saying what you thought I was saying, why should you care? Even if it was true, it shouldn't affect your enjoyment of the product, and you shouldn't take it as an attack on you personally. Part 3, the corporation and you. Around the time Rogue One, a Star Wars story, came out last year, my brother told me that he would see it once if it was bad and twice if it was good. He's a huge Star Wars fan, by the way. I was flabbergasted. It hadn't even crossed my mind to blindly see a movie without at least thinking about the movie for a little bit. But for my brother, the Star Wars name was enough in and of itself to sell that movie ticket. Before the movie was even made, the ticket was already sold. All they had to do was release it, and Disney would get their easily $1. Disney is an exception and in many ways a pioneer in this. Disney is the only studio that brands itself. When you see a Warner Brothers movie, you could be in for anything. You could be seeing a James Wan horror film, you could be seeing a Lego animation movie, you could be seeing... who knows? You could be seeing Midnight Special. But when you go and see a Disney movie, or any movie under the Disney umbrella, you know what you're going to see. You're going to see a fairy tale. You're going to see an animation movie for all ages. You're going to see a Star Wars movie. You're going to see a Marvel movie. You know what you're going to see. And it is this brand recognition that has, in the 21st century, allowed it to flourish as its rivals, both in theme parks and movie theaters, have floundered. In fact, this is why they want to buy the 21st Century Fox. They want to expand their property, their brand. Particularly, Disney itself has crafted an image as the family-friendly, cheery mouse. They make movies for basically nearly every demographic on the planet. Nothing is more middle of the road than a Disney movie, or a Disney Marvel movie, or a Star Wars movie. In the new media age, where the consumer is bombarded by a glut of media from all sides, this sort of brand loyalty is indispensable. It's the currency of the day. The point of all of this is that movie studios are pushing harder and harder to cultivate the sort of loyalty for a brand. They want an audience who will come back to their movie over and over and over again. Same goes for video game companies. It is completely possible that Insomniac, or any other company for that matter, genuinely cares about the fans. And I'm not presuming there aren't. That wasn't my point. To a certain extent, that is. More importantly, market forces are pushing companies to pursue these kinds of relationships. This matters because it puts the type of marketing, and yes, it is marketing, that Insomniac has engaged on social media in perspective. They may be nice. They may be genuinely invested in and concerned about their fans, but they also have an incentive to do so. Part 4, why this matters. Now that I've clarified what I meant, and hopefully you understand what I was trying to say, it's time for the good part. Why did I say it? Why couldn't I just not cause drama, or however else other people phrased whatever it was that I did? Here's why. I love the geek community. I love Comic-Con and I love cosplay. I love talking about nerdy crap on the internet. That's why I'm here. Some of my favorite memories are built on this nerdy shared consumption. I remember sneaking downstairs with my brother to play Star Wars games before my mom woke up. I remember buying a VHS set of the first 6 Star Wars movies from the library and watching them all in a day. I remember playing GoldenEye on my neighbor's Nintendo 64 and camping on the spawn point of the Golden Gun. I remember the first time I went to Comic-Con. This stuff is very near and dear to my heart. I don't think I'd ever want to change that. But all these things that I enjoy are fundamentally products. They are intellectual property owned by some company halfway across the country, if not the world. Star Trek isn't mine, it's national amusement. Spider-Man isn't yours, it's Sony's. Insomniac might care about making a good game and might care about the fans, but they still have to make enough money to keep the lights on. A lot of people like to identify themselves by the stuff they like. I know that because I did that. You place so much of your identity in the thing that you like that you start to think you own it or have some claim to it, which you don't. Because geek culture is founded and is formed around the shared consumption of the same product, its existence depends entirely on the good graces of the people who own it. They can encourage it or discourage it at their leisure. Right now, you're basking in the warm glow of Insomniac's encouragement of this culture. Maybe because they like the fans, but also at least partially because it doesn't hurt to have people excited for your game before it comes out. It's easy to say we're all friends right now. It's easy for Insomniac and Sony to just be pals with the community right now when they've got a game coming up and they're basking in the warm glow of this excitement and energy. But what happens next? What happens when what makes the company money isn't what fans want? The example of the divergent interests of producers and consumers that's closest to my heart is Star Trek Axanar, but there are many others. Take, for instance, Disney's decision to pull its entire catalog from Netflix and create its own streaming service. This will likely end, or at least switch owners, the very beloved Netflix Defenders universe. Or at least, it's going to change form. No matter how much you may like the Netflix universe, it only exists on the whim of Disney. When a particular business venture, such as the Defenders, stops being profitable or something else becomes more profitable, Disney will stop making it and make something else. Another example of this uncomfortable truth that I think a lot of you would be familiar with, or at least be interested in hearing in, would be Spider-Man Unreal Engine 4. This past summer, a fan project was assembled where they would create a Spider-Man fan game, and of course my good friend Godzilla Mendoza was approached to help out with writing and voicing Spider-Man. Things went south, stuff happened. I admit my experience with the game is limited, so I'm gonna hand it over to my good friend Godzilla Mendoza to talk about it, and then I want you to pay particular attention to the way Cole, the lead developer, and the others treat Marvel, who owns this property, and the way they think of Spider-Man as an idea and who owns it.
I was contacted by a friend back in June of this year saying he was a concept artist for a Spider-Man fan game, which I saw footage of and right away thought, wow, this seems pretty legit. Looks awesome. I did a brief interview with the creative team on it, and they asked me if I'd like to help write it in addition to voicing Spider-Man. I, of course, jumped at the idea and signed on immediately, which naturally brought the team a pretty substantial amount of attention from my fan base. I wrote up an outline for the game's plot to use all the ideas the different devs wanted, no matter how conflicting and crazy they might have been. Before I got to record any lines of dialogue, however, several people came to speak to me online about the guy in charge of the project, a fella named Cole. Some had talked about Cole forcing them to work for 6-hour workdays while screen sharing to monitor their progress, causing them to feel fatigue working on it. These developers contributed major portions of the game before leaving it, and Cole apparently took credit for a lot of their work, including the basic swinging mechanic by a guy named Aiden, who left because he felt that he was working for Cole and not for himself. I was also informed that there were 2 people before me in the running for the voice of Spider-Man, who felt that Cole's alleged actions several months earlier were concerning. Apparently, someone under the name of John Doe began spreading false rumors among the Spidey Squad Discord server that he was a developer of Spider-Man PS4, and shared several screenshots of Spider-Man UE4's work in progress. Whether or not Cole is indeed this racist and vile John Doe character is still up for debate, with some evidence pointing either way, but Cole's treatment of the Spider-Man material in general says a lot about fans. Fans and their belief that they own things just as much as the creators do. Something Cole has gone on record saying multiple times. I decided to challenge him in the game's group Discord about the legality of the game and his insistence on promoting it so much through me and a few other YouTubers. He said, Marvel aren't dicks, in defense of the project when I asked why he thought we wouldn't get a cease and desist. The development team took a vote through a straw poll and agreed that the game should go underground to avoid unwanted attention from Marvel lawyers. Cole immediately freaked out that everyone agreed to this without him, and then he said he wanted to keep the game as public as possible, quote, for the fans, and not anybody else. No one at all. It totally wasn't in service of someone else's ego at all, right? So anyway, everyone got uncomfortable with him overruling like 20 other people, and many left that night, citing his ego and glory-seeking as a reason for wanting to go. He treated them with the utmost of disrespect. At this point, one of the ex-devs cracked the password for the game's source code and leaked it in the Spidey Squad server. I know who it was, but I didn't tell them they should do it. I didn't know they planned to do it until after it happened, nor did I even want to look at the files. And I still haven't to this day. I confronted Cole amidst all the chaos and tried to convince him that the team was turning on him. But he threw in some defenses and tried to say everyone loved him as leader and all the people that told the same stories about him were lying, Then he berated all of the other people that were Spider-Man voice actors before me and said they were a bunch of children. So I told him the truth and said that his second-in-command was going to steal the game from him and left. I felt really shitty and frazzled. A dream come true for any Spider-Man fan had fallen apart, and it seemed like it was getting worse and worse. And in my depression, I did something that I'll admit is pretty dumb. I took the link for the source code that was on the Spidey Squad server and tried to tell my friend Sean about it by sharing it and saying, "Hey look, the game's kinda fucked now because anyone has access to this and they can do whatever they want." Sean then asked Cole about it, not yet aware of all the drama going on between him and I and him and everyone else. Now, did I need to share the link with him to demonstrate this point? No, I didn't. I wasn't thinking. I didn't leak the files as Cole constantly claims, also he doesn't know how to spell coup. I just sent it to my friend while I was kind of almost on the edge of crying, because I had told all my friends and family I was a part of this thing. And at the time I felt like I had just let everyone down by quitting. The next morning on my birthday, Cole tried to say that I was the one who took the source files, which I did not, and then he immediately replaced me with a new voice actor. Then the unthinkable happened. After I said he was going to get a cease and desist from Marvel, to which he responded with, "Nah, shut up, bro." Guess what happened? Cease and desist email from Marvel, saying something along the lines of, "Shovel Knight takes inspiration from Mega Man, but isn't a Mega Man game. Can you guys change the assets around to be something new?" Cole is now several months later working on a Superman game inspired by Superman Returns on PS2, and once again saying that the fans of these characters own them as much as Marvel or DC do, not understanding the rules he's broken and continues to break, not understanding why everyone was mad at him in the first place, and not understanding that he should just apologize for all the madness and stop trying to make fan games.
The big takeaway for me from what Xavier had to say isn't the behind-the-scenes drama, you can think about that for yourself, or the infighting, but the notion that Marvel wouldn't sue because Marvel aren't dicks. First of all, glass houses. Second of all, being a dick seems to simply entail doing what is best for your own financial well-being and financial success. I guess we're all dicks by that definition. We can't just make a Spider-Man game and call it our own, especially not when Sony is out there making its own Spider-Man game that would have to compete with any fan-made Spider-Man game. Why would you pay for Spider-Man PS4 when you could have played Spider-Man UE4 for free? This wasn't an example of copyright law gone amok. This is an example of copyright law doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Without this legal protection, there would be no incentive for Sony to make a Spider-Man game because of competition from people like Cole who would have done the same thing for free. It sucks that we don't own the things that we love, but without this protection, we wouldn't be able to enjoy them at all. Think of it this way. Imagine you're best friends with someone who lives in a really nice red house. Every time you go there, you go and visit his house, and you compliment him on how red his house is and how much you like that he has a red house. Now say your friend changes the color of his house to blue. Maybe he likes blue better. You could shout at him. You could get angry. But that doesn't change the color back to red. It's still his house. It's the same with Spider-Man, or any other property. It's hard to think about it this way because once you realize that what you say doesn't have an impact, you just realize that your opinion overall just doesn't matter. It hurts. I've learned that better than anyone. My personal hatred of Star Wars won't stop a new Star Wars movie from assaulting my ears and eyes every single December, and it won't stop me from being pummeled into submission by the Disney marketing machine. That truth hurts. It hurts to know that the thing you love isn't and will never be truly yours, except in your heart. It hurts to know that what you think doesn't matter if some executive doesn't think he can make money off of what you like. But that's a system that exists, and we have to live in it, and once again, it exists for a reason. Just be excited for Spider-Man PS4 all you want. Or don't. But whether or not that company likes your fan club or not shouldn't matter. More than anything else, Insomniac isn't your friend. It's a business. You might be friends right now, but there's nothing to guarantee that that will last. The game that they make is more than anything else a product that you consume, like microwavable mac and cheese, or a really nice sweater. And the games you play shouldn't define you any more than the food you eat or the clothes you wear. Boy, that was a downer ending. That ended up being way darker than I thought it would be when I started out writing the script. Well, it's all over now. Now, I've said my bit, and I hope that, even if you don't agree with me, I hope that now you at least understand what I was trying to say. Special thanks to Godzilla Mendoza here for contributing to the story, making his awesome story
Where
that
am
he
I?
talked about, and
I wasn't here 5 minutes ago. I was in a supermarket. How did I get here?
special thanks to Godzilla Mendoza for
Who are
writing
you?
this section and contributing to the stream.
What is happening?
Generally being awesome.
What's wrong with my hair?
A lot.
Oh,
That's what's
God.
wrong.
Ugh.
Special thanks to Evan and Josh as well for contributing to the voicing of the tweets, and special thanks for all the audience for listening. And Evan, if you're still here, thank you very much for watching.